is preparing to go live. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters, and welcome to day 14 of ICZ Ramadan program. I now invite Maulana Sayyid Haidi Yasin to give us a lecture on Ahkam of Ramadan.
الله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا المصطفى محمد على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى لقاء يوم الدين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. May Allah inshallah accept all our prayers, our amal, our dua, our fastings and ibadat inshallah in this holy month. We ask him to accept our amal inshallah with the barakat of salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Also congratulations on this great occasion, the wiladat of our beloved Imam Hassan alayhi salatu wassalam. We ask Allah to inshallah register our names among the true followers of our Imam and Ahlul Bayt, and let us be with them in dunya wal akhirah inshallah with the barakat of salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Inshallah 5 minutes of ahkam together, and we're reviewing the ahkam of fasting in month of Ramadan. We talked about the ahkam of kafarat, expiations, and we're going to talk about the time and the situation that only qadha of roza and fasting is wajib, not kafara. Only the qadha. There are few parts that there's no kafara, you just need to do the qadha. Unless, although it might be a mistake from your side, but just the qadha is enough after Ramadan. For example, if someone in month of Ramadan forgot ghusl janabat, and few days, one or few days, he or she was fasting, forgot again the ghusl janabat and fasting and didn't know. So these days, because he forgot, she forgot, there is no kafara. But after Ramadan, because they knew eventually at first that they had to do ghusl and they forgot, after Ramadan they have to do ghusl, and that's enough, no kafara. There's one situation that sleeping in the month of Ramadan at night and not waking up on time for the ghusl before Fajr. What we'll talk about is it has different sections. The other situation and occasion is that he or she doesn't do anything to break the fast, but also didn't have the niyat of fasting for Ramadan, or do riyah in the month of Ramadan, you know, that not for the sake of Allah, for the sake of others to see, say, mashallah, he is or she's fasting. Or even have the intention not to fast, or to have the intention to break the fast, even though she didn't do anything to break the fast. Because if they have the intention and they do something purposely, that become amdan and purposely, and we talked about it, kafare amd. But if someone has the intention, says, now 100% I decided I'm going to go to the fridge, I'm going to grab the water and drink. After Ramadan, he should or she should do the qaza of that day. But because if they didn't do it, by the way, before they go to the fridge, it says, astaghfirullah, I shouldn't do it. It's Ramadan, they do the tawbah, but still, after Ramadan, they have to fast as a qaza. So what happened here? Didn't do anything to make it batil, but didn't do the niyat of Ramadan, because you have to have the niyat of Ramadan. Or to do riyah, or to have the niyat not to be fasting. These are all among these situations that makes the only qaza of Ramadan wajib for this person after Ramadan. Another situation, the fourth one, in month of Ramadan, without making sure and researching and doing tahqiq at night, that is it subh, is it fajr or not yet, and it starts eating or do something that make their fasting batil. And then after that realizes, oh, it was already subh, it was already fajr. So in this case, it was your responsibility to be sure, to make sure you don't eat at the time of Fajr. And Azan is over. But because he didn't, so this person, without the tahqiq, without the research, without anything, he just started, continued eating. No, inshallah, it's not Azan yet. So you can't just say, inshallah, it's not Azan yet. You have to do the tahqiq. So these are among those situations and moments that only qada is wajib for the person, not the kafar. Any of these situations, if someone does it, for example, purposely, it becomes what? Because it becomes qaza and kafara together wajib for this person. But in this situation, so inshallah we'll continue this topic of those other things that it goes to the iftar, it goes to other situations as well, that when and how only the qaza of fasting is wajib for us. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, give us tawfiq and opportunity to have, inshallah, correct a'mal, great fasting under his satisfaction, inshallah, with the barakat of salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil fajr. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Jazakallah Maulana for enlightening us with the Ahkam of Ramadan. Before I invite our next speaker, I request us to please recite 1 time Surah Fatiha and 3 times Surah Ikhlas for all Marumin, including those for whom there is no one to recite Fatiha, your own Marumin and those of today's sponsor. The sponsors for today are Azhar Hussain and all Marumin of Muslim Ummah, Tuib Safari and Fahmida Safari. Now invite Maulana Shaikh Ahmad Modarres to address us for his lecture. I think Maulana, you are on the mute, I guess.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إلهنا وشفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين الهداة المهديين سيما بقية الله في السماوات والأراضين. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الكريم إن في ذلك لذكرى لمن كان له قلب أو ألقى السمع وهو شهيد صدق الله العلي العظيم. Respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Congratulations on the blessed occasion of the Wilada anniversary of the birth of our second Imam, Imam Hassan ibn Ali al-Mujtaba alayhi salatu wassalam. Tomorrow, 15th of Ramadan, is a day that the first child was born in the house of Imam Ali alayhi salam and Fatimatu Zahra salamullah alayha. I would like to congratulate all of my dear brothers and sisters on this auspicious occasion. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to be worthy to receive the shafa'ah and intercession of Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam and Ahlul Bayt. 15th of Ramadan, on the 3rd year after Hijrah, in the city of Medina, a baby boy was born in the house of Ali alayhi salam and Fatima Zahra, who was named Hassan alayhi salam. With his presence, it brought that radiance and that light to the city of Medina. And after Rasulullah came to see the baby, they wrapped the baby around a white cloth and they gave it to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he asked Imam Ali alayhi salam, Ya Ali, did you name this baby? And that adab and manners of Ali alayhi salam before the Prophet was always there, including this moment. He said, Ya Rasulullah, I will never let myself to name this baby before you. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I will not advance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala naming this baby. And the name Hassan was chosen for our second Imam. For 7 years, Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam experienced the presence of the Prophet in his life. He used to play with Rasulullah, and as you know, even Rasulullah used to prolong his sajdas in congregation prayers when Imam al-Hassan and Imam al-Hussein were playing with him. And after 7 years, he lost Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his mother Fatima Zahra salamullah alayha, and he continued to take blessings of the presence of Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam for years, until the year 40th after Hijrah, and the month of Ramadan, and the 21st of Ramadan, Imam Hassan alayhi salam became the next Imam after the Shahada and martyrdom of Amir al-Mu'minin Ali alayhi salatu wassalam. So tonight, on the subject that we were discussing for the last few nights on healing through the Quran, there is a way also to talk about the life of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, because they are Ahlul Bayt, especially our Imams are embodiment, the living Quran, that their principles in life, their values was values and principles of Quran. So it's not a difficult task for us to see how connected Quran and Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam are. Resemblance of Quran in the life of our second Imam is easily visible, noticeable. And for anyone who's looking to learn from the life of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, they will learn about the message of the Quran as well. But to talk a bit more about the life of Imam Hassan, it is important to know that our Imam, this name Hassan, which it means as beautiful. The word Hassan itself, it's an indication of being good and being presentable. And in character and in creation, and both our Imam was Hassan. And as we have in traditions, that the character of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, the entirety of his character was filled with righteousness, with beauty. And that famous tradition that Inna Allah jamilun wa yuhibbul jamal, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the essence of beauty, is the source of beauty, and He loves the beauty as well. And those people who are in character, in their akhlaq, in their manners, in their life, they are a sign of beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. So what we see in the life of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, that in Quran Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about Ahlul Bayt, but specifically in regard of Imam Hassan in the story of Mubahila, when that debate took place between the Christians of Najran and Prophet, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought Imam al-Hassan and Imam al-Hussein alayhima salam, in addition to Imam Ali and Hazrat Fatima Zahra salamullah alayhima. And that verse, قل تعالوا ندعو أبناءنا وأبناءكم ونساءنا ونساءكم وأنفسنا وأنفسكم ثم نبتهل فنجعل لعنة الله على الكاذبين, was revealed on this occasion that the abna and the children, the sons of the Prophet in this case, was referring to Imam al-Hassan and Imam al-Hussein alayhima salam. And people ask why we call Ahlul Bayt Yabna Rasulullah in Dua Tawassul. You would see that after the name of every Imam, as from Imam Hassan alayhi salam until the Imam of our time, the address is Ya Hujjat Allah ala khalqi, Yabna Rasulullah, Ya Hujjat Allah ala khalqi. O son of the Prophet, O proof of Allah. And in both cases, we have this question that why we call them the son of the Prophet. They are grandsons of the Prophet. But remember, the ayah in Surah Al Imran regarding Mubahila, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, O Rasulullah, O Messenger, tell them, you bring your sons and I will bring mine. And he brought Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein to represent his sons. And we have the ayah in Surah Insan when Fatima Zahra salamullah alayha and Imam Ali alayhi salam, they gave charity. They made a sacrifice and ithar to give the food that they had for the poor and needy and captive and the orphan. They were subject of this ayah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا. That when they're feeding those in need, when they are helping those in need, they say إِنَّمَا نُطْعِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ لَا نُرِيدُ مِنْكُمْ جَزَاءً وَلَا شُكُورًا. That we helped you, we gave this infaq for the sake of Allah and only Him. This sincerity in the word of these individuals, this family, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honors them with the Surah Insan, that they're so sincere in their intention that we mentioned that they will say, we did this all for the sake of Allah, we don't expect reward, we don't expect appreciation or thanks from you. So Imam Hassan alayhi salam, we see it in his life that he was able to fulfill his responsibility as a son when he is with Imam Ali alayhi salam. He's an obedient son, an obedient follower of the Imam of his time. That he is participating in battles that Imam Ali alayhi salam asked him to be, and even for protecting Ummah against division, against mob rule, to even defend the house of the third caliph. He's ready to obey the command and the order of the Imam of his time, Imam Ali alayhi salam, without questioning. This obedience which comes from that conviction and that certainty and the proof of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if I want to give you again a short, brief kind of chronological order of the life of Imam Hassan, as I mentioned, the 3rd year after Hijrah, Imam Hassan alayhi salam was born in the city of Medina. And on the 21st of Ramadan of the year 40th after Hijrah, on the day of the Shahada and martyrdom of our Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, at the age of 37, he was appointed as the 2nd Imam to continue the Ummah, the leadership of the Ummah. And for 10 years, he was in the position of leading the Ummah and to be the connection between Allah and creation, to be the Hujjat and the Imam for 10 years. On the 28th of Safar of the year 50th after Hijrah, there is a different narration which day is the day of the departure. But again, some say it was at the beginning of the month of Safar, some say it was at the end of the month of Safar. But then the 28th of the month of Safar is one narration. At the age of 47, he was poisoned by the hand of his wife Ju'ada, who was bribed by Muawiyah to remove Imam Hassan alayhi salam from the path of his ambitions that he has for power. So, as I said, Imam Hassan alayhi salam is the subject of the verses of Quran, such as Ayah Mubahila. He is the subject of the verses of Surah Insan. Also, he is the one in the Hadith al-Kisa, is one of the people of the Kisa, people of the cloak, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam referred to them as Ahlul Bayt. He is the subject of that. And of course, when it comes to Ayah Mawadda, that Rasulullah said, قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. That I don't expect any reward or any payback from you except to love those who are closest to me. And of course, he is definitely the proper example of to be the qurba of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So these are a bit about his life. But one thing that he's known for is that he is the Kareem of Ahlul Bayt, and we heard about it. He's the most generous, and he was the most generous of people of his time. He's someone that twice he donated, he gave away everything he had for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, twice. And 3 times he gave 50% of all he had, half of what he had for the sake of Allah. And just to ask ourselves, when we give a bit of charity, probably sometimes it is difficult to even imagine to give all you have for the sake of Allah. And this was not, this is the character, is not just a one-dimensional character. As well as being generous, he's also obedient as well. And I come back to generosity to talk about it a bit. But when it comes even to obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have that 20 to 25 times he performed pilgrimage, walking, without any ride. He walked to Hajj 20 times. So it's not just the generosity, but even in obedience and worship, he's a man to be exemplary in his position, in his place. So generosity in our religion has a very unique place, because when you look at even the qualities of muttaqeen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that this Quran is guidance for muttaqeen. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. That this book, Quran, it is guidance, but for those who have taqwa, they are God conscious, they are virtuous, they have that God-fearing heart, they are the one that they will be guided by Quran. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described muttaqin, الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. Those that the world that they believe in is not just limited to physical world. They believe to the unseen. They believe in ghaib. وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةِ. They establish prayers. وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. So you cannot look at taqwa as a one-dimensional virtue. Rather, is a machine that has different pieces, that all of them together help us to have taqwa. All of these pieces together make the character of a mu'min. That's why, for example, in Khutbah Muttaqeen, the sermon of Muttaqeen, the bearers of taqwa, the bearers of virtue, Imam alayhi salam lists the quality. And I ask you to, inshallah, as we are approaching toward the 19th of Ramadan, take advantage of our time to take a look at Nahjul Balagha of Imam Ali alayhi salam, this precious treasure that we have today remain after Amir al-Mu'minin Ali alayhi salam, and read Khutbah Muttaqeen. So when you read it, you see that Muttaqeen are complex human beings. What I mean by complex, that they are not one-sided or one-dimensional characters. They have different aspects to their life. They have bravery and they have fear. They exercise silence and they exercise speech. They are confident of their knowledge when they have to be, and then they are humble about what they don't know and their ignorance as well. They are generous when they have to be, and then they are in the position of self-preservation mode when they have to be. That's the taqwa, that's muttaqi. Someone who knows what is the right course of action, when is the right time, what is the right way. They know all that. And that's something that you built your character, as we mentioned in Quran, that everybody acts upon their character and shakila. That's what it is about muttaqeen. That they understand and they learn through exercising piety and virtue about to be in the right time and the right place in the right way. And that's what we say about Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, that generosity is one aspect of his life, but is not the only one. He is Kareem, he is generous, but at the same time, he is connected. His servitude is a pinnacle of servitude. He's standing. But specifically, if we want to talk about one aspect of the life of the Imam, which is the generosity, which is also important, Quran said that muttaqeen, they believe in the unseen. So when it comes to their faith is strong. Their worldview is not limited to senses. They believe more than that. And then they establish prayers and they give for the sake of Allah. And then Allah said, not from what they own, from what we gave them. وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. Pious people, virtuous people are those that they give for the sake of Allah from what we bless them, as Quran says, from what we sustain them with. And then وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. They believe in this book, Quran, what we revealed to you, Ya Rasulullah, and to what the scripture that was revealed before you. They believe in the continuity of the message of God. And they believe in the day of judgment. They have yaqeen and certainty about that day. These are muttaqeen. And Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam has that يُنْفِقُونَ مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ. وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ is truly in life of Imam Hasan alayhi salam is a man that not only generous, but he is also merciful and kind as well. So it's important to know the character of Imam Hasan alayhi salam more than just one aspect of his life. When you recite Ziyarat Jami Kabira, one thing that we learn from Ziyarat Jami Kabira is that Ahlul Bayt, they have a lot of qualities. And we list these qualities. وَسَجِيَّتُكُمُ الْكَرَمُ وَعَادَتُكُمُ الْإِحْسَانِ. That their manners, their attitude, their habits was different. So read Ziyarat Jami Kabira, especially if you want to recite a ziyarah for Imam Hasan alayhi salam. One ziyarah that we can recite for any of the Ahlul Bayt is one of the most authentic and reliable ziyarat out there is the Ziyarat Jami Kabira. For any of the Ahlul Bayt, and you can dedicate this one on the Walad of Imam Hasan, on the eve of the Walad of Imam al-Hasan to Imam Hasan alayhi salam. So that's one thing we see in the life of Imam Hasan alayhi salam. Generosity is one aspect. So speaking of generosity, it's important we talk about the subject that we started yesterday, because we talk about sincerity and riyah. And one thing about the life of Imam Hasan alayhi salam was that his sincerity was proven to everyone. For someone to live a life that you perform Hajj, walk to Hajj and pilgrimage 20 times, to share all you have with God completely, all you have for the sake of Allah twice, without sincerity, without ikhlas, what other motivation could be behind it? On the other hand, we have those who are mura'i, those who are showing off, pretending, which, as I said, could be a very difficult spiritual disease to get rid of. It is very difficult, but it is possible. And we talked about it, that one reason is because people don't know their self-worth. People don't know their value. The role of the Quran, the role of the Ahlul Bayt and the Prophet was remind humanity of how much they're truly worth. That anything less than heaven, anything less than salvation, you sold yourself cheaply. If you're selling yourself, as we said, the hadith of Imam Ali alayhi salam, put a price tag that is valuable, that is high, and worth it. And Imam Hasan alayhi salam, his life is an example of that. That he was not ready to trade anything except his true value, which was to be the servant of Allah, even with Muawiyah. You know, there's a tradition by Hazrat Fatima Zahra Salamullah alayha. Hazrat says that the Imam's role is the role of Kaaba. Means the same way Kaaba doesn't go to people, people come to Kaaba. Imam's guidance has to be accepted by people. People have to come to Imam. That's why Imam Ali alayhi salam, he tried to warn people, but once people, they were misguided, their ignorance took over. They ignored. Imam alayhi salam was unfortunately set aside for 2 decades. For more than 2 decades, Imam alayhi salam sat down and saw the ummah going on the path of deviance. Why? Because people, their ignorance was the one dictating their decisions. And Imam Hassan had the same place. When he asked people to stand against Muawiyah, same people who, at the end of the Battle of Siffin, they left Imam Ali alayhi salam. They forced his hand to go to Hakimiyya, a judgment process, a ruling process. They did that to Imam Ali alayhi salam in the Battle of Siffin. Malik Ashtar was very close to end this battle, and the side of truth prevail and become victorious. But the ignorance, the Quran and the spears tricked them, and they went to Hakimiyya. And Imam Hassan, same thing happened. Imam asked them to stand against Muawiyah. But Muawiyah wrapped himself in the cloak of this, his deceit, his conning method of tricking people. He wrapped himself around pretending to be virtuous and talking about faith and religion. Same ignorant people, they left sight of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. And then people say, why that happened? Why that happened? Why people are not, why Imam Hassan alayhi salam end up signing a peace treaty with them? The Kaaba was left alone again. Imam cannot force people. People have to choose to accept the guidance of Allah, Prophet, and Imam. So it is important to know, to have that investigative eyes when you look at history of the life of Ahlul Bayt or any other history. To understand that how much of those reports are reliable. Is there any evidence to support it? And those who actually happened, what was the context? So there is an ayah in Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Qaf, verse 37, إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَذِكْرَى لِمَنْ كَانَ لَهُ قَلْبٌ. Quran is a reminder, is an admonition for somebody who has a heart. So if your heart is still there, if your heart did not die from sins, as we have in tradition that mautul insan bidhunub, that the death of human beings' heart by sins are much, much more in common than people's death by natural death. That people die before even they die. Their heart dies before the actual death. So Quran says if you have a qalb, if you have a heart, if you have a living heart, Quran is admonition and reminder for you. It wakes you up. أو ألقى السمع, or you give an ear. Give an ear to it means to pay attention, to listen, to let your hearts find the awakening. We have people who did not know about Quran or Islam, like Wahab. Wahab was a Christian young man that Imam Rasulullah's message, he listened and he embraced Islam and he became one of the shuhada on the day of Ashura. أو ألقى السمع. If you give your ear, if you listen, Quran will be a reminder. وَهُوَ الشَّهِيد, but not any kind of listening. A lot of people listen to lectures, listens to speeches. But Allah said, وَهُوَ الشَّهِيد, when you're present, when you're attentive, then Quran is dhikra for you. So three things. You need a heart. If you have a heart, it means you have a living heart. Second, Quran says if you are listening, if you pay attention. And lastly, وَهُوَ الشَّهِيد, you're attentive. You give out your heart to pay attention to what you're listening to. Not to just listen and then, daydreaming while you're listening. So the point that we specifically yesterday we came to was we need to know our self-worth. We know how valuable we are as a creation of Allah, as a vicegerent of God on earth. If we know that, then we will not depend on people to put a price tag on our value, that, oh, my value is 20 likes that I got, that my self-worth is this number of retweet, or I don't know, number of views, or any other thing, a number of compliments, number of praise that I got. That's my price tag. No. Only and only doing it for the sake of Allah. It gave you a price tag that nobody knows except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That even archangels are incapable of catching up with the position of a human being such as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the status of a human being. But one thing we have to be careful is that although in being in need of attention or praise, it's a sign of riyah, but it's an exaggeration or unhealthy level of praise that is not acceptable, that leads to riyah and showing off and pretending. On the other side, we have the healthy praise. And inshallah, I will talk about that more tomorrow, because I promise, inshallah, every night we finish and we end with a reminder regarding dua. Last night I mentioned the importance of making prayers after salat. So again, in summary, our tonight's discussion was about the life of Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, and understanding that his character was not one-dimensional character. It was not just about his generosity, there are different aspects. And understanding also the importance of how we can put ourselves in a position to look at the life of Imam Hasan alayhi salam. So inshallah, we continue this more tomorrow night. Allah give us inshallah the tawfiq of learning from the message of Quran, learning from the message of Ahlul Bayt, especially from the life of Imam Hasan alayhi salam, inshallah. Thank you so much for your time. Inshallah, we continue this tomorrow night. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Maulana, for an informative speech. This concludes our program for the today. Thank you.